Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about a new show from SyFy. It's called Aftermath, and the episode is called RVL 6768. It's a license plate, just in case you're wondering what the random numbers and letters were. Of course, this is Season 1, Episode 1. We will start spoiler free, and we'll give you a warning before spoilers, because it is a first episode. And that's what we usually do with first episodes, just in case you want to get a sense of if it's worth watching or not before you sit through the spoilers. I don't want to mention a scene in the middle of this because I feel like it perfectly sums up the show as a whole. So we've got a family here, two daughters, a son, mum, dad, the Copelands, and they get separated from one of the daughters during the episode. That's a big part of the plot. But the daughter who's still with them, Dana, halfway through the episode, after they see something horrific, which we'll get to in the spoilers, but they see something horrific once they're out on the road. And Dana starts crying and getting hysterical and saying, "So much is happening so fast, I don't understand."
Yeah.
That perfectly sums up this entire episode.
Yeah. So, I mean, we should probably cover the premise of the show.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I wanted to use that to
okay.
sum up the whole thing. The show is that basically the apocalypse is happening.
But which one?
It's a good question because there's multiple things happening here. We have a kind of a virus thing that's not quite zombies, but it's in a similar sort of wavelength.
Yeah, we got a plague.
We got plague, yeah, zombie sort of style plague. We also have like demon things, which they call skinwalkers.
Yep.
We also have asteroids hitting the Earth, or meteors hitting the Earth.
Yep. We have tornadoes. We got earthquakes.
Earthquakes where there's no fault lines.
Yeah. We've got fish being dropped from like tornadoes. Fish everywhere. Snakes. Like one farm over. You know. You name it. It's probably got it at some point.
So we're following this family who, after one daughter, gets taken away, they have to go and look for her. So they leave the house and they're in this RV, and that's the thing. This is the show, and they're out looking for her. And there's dangerous people out there, dangerous things are happening, and that's basically what we can say without spoilers. Because there's a lot of specific moments we can point to, and believe me, we're going to talk about them when we get to the spoilers. To sum up the thoughts though, without them though, it is crazy. It's a crazy show where things keep happening very quickly, where you don't have a chance to breathe before something else equally ridiculous happens. I will say this, if our Tuesday nights weren't packed, I would be so watching the second episode of this, just to see how more insane it gets.
I agree, but that doesn't make it any good.
It wasn't bad either though.
I don't know. I feel like they're using the whole idea of look how many different things are happening as a crutch. It's like
Maybe, sure.
I feel like that's the entire show is just, oh, look at this thing, then look at this thing, then look at this other thing. And it's like there's never enough time to deal with anything.
Okay, there's truth to what you just said. My complaints wouldn't be so much that, because at least out of that I get like a haphazard, what the hell's happening kind of enjoyment out of it. The problem I have more with it is everything does happen so fast, and the characters don't feel like they're reacting properly to the amount of stuff that's already happened. I feel like they should already be hysterical by the time someone's been shot and killed, whereas they're still kind of okay for a while, and then it's more stuff happens. And
Do you know what? It was like, obviously we mentioned they get separated.
Yeah.
And it's like this is kind of played as a big moment. It's like, am I supposed to care? I've had like 2 scenes with these characters. Like, who cares? And in neither of them were they likable. Why should I care?
Well, see, this is my thing, is I almost appreciate that scene because at least it's trying to do something like that, because after that scene, it feels like for the next half, well, not half, but, the next 10-15 minutes of the episode, they're separated from their daughter, but they seem to be just treating it as if, oh, we'll meet her in this place. Like, there's almost no panic afterwards.
Yeah, like, they just assume she's alive. Like, oh, she's not dead. Why would she be dead?
There's a big scene where, the mum falls to her knees and is crying about what's happening, and then the next scene it's like, well, we'll meet her here. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's more my problem with this. My problem is that the characters don't seem to be reacting properly to what's going on around them until Dana, who is clearly the smartest character in the show, starts to question what's going on. So yeah,
This is
yeah,
absolutely insane.
yeah. Garrish clearly agrees here. He's oh
I think
sorry.
what happened is he saw too many things on the TV, and he's like, I don't know how to deal with this in my
Yeah,
cat brain.
he's not coping properly. He's not
Yeah.
coping, and he's lashing out. Now, apart from that, I do feel like things escalate far too quickly. Like, well, I mean, forgetting the character reactions to them, just this should have easily been 2 episodes. This should have been a double pilot.
Oh yeah. Like
There's
this just really needs to just slow down.
This crammed so much in to 42 minutes. It's probably the most jam-packed 42 minutes of television I've ever seen in my life.
And that is including a night where we spent 25 minutes talking about a single episode of Scream Queens.
Yes, and that was pretty jam-packed.
I thought nothing was going to top that today, at least.
Yeah, today. And oh god, I don't even. I will say this though, for in terms of positives, I don't think any of the main cast are bad. I feel like they're not. I feel like the characters aren't written to react the right way, but I feel like the cast themselves aren't.
I don't have any problem with the acting. If
Um,
that's what you mean. If that's what you mean.
I also think for the most part the effects were pretty good, especially for sci-fi.
Yeah, I can't complain too much.
Like
The
when the
effects.
asteroids were like falling and stuff, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good.
So I hope so. It's just some bit of light.
No. I don't mean that. I mean, like
Yeah, yeah,
there's ones where you actually see like smoke and fire and they're
yeah.
coming
No,
through the atmosphere.
it does look all right.
It,
Surprisingly so.
I feel I'll give them this. I feel like sci-fi, regardless of what the show is, I feel like they're gradually trying to get away from that everything we make looks cheap feel.
Yeah, because it doesn't look that cheap.
It doesn't. It looks more like a network show rather than a cable show.
Yeah,
And by cable, I mean like sci-fi cable, not like obviously if we're talking
not
premium
not premium cable. No.
HBO cable, then that's a big different thing. But
Yeah, sci-fi is low rent cable.
but it feels like they're trying to get away from that. I feel like Van Helsing looked a little bit more expensive than I'm used to their shows looking. This again looks a bit more expensive.
Mm.
Channel Zero, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, which we're looking forward to covering,
It's
looks
very polished.
yeah, it looks pretty polished for a show on Sci-Fi. It's kind of like how I mean, because actually, it's the same company. It's Universal that have USA Network, and it's kind of the same thing with them. Everything they did looked cheap, and then all of a sudden, Mr. Robot exists, and it's like, oh, they're starting to get away from that reputation, which is nice. I mean, it's good that they're doing
And
that.
I've had a few things, even if the quality of the writing wasn't there, it didn't look cheap.
Yeah. So, I would say that I kind of hope the writers stop taking speed, because that's seemingly what's happening.
It's the only logical assumption, right?
Uh, I will say that I liked that it didn't shy away from some violence, which we'll get
Some
to in a
nice little
second.
bits of gore. Was
Yes,
some good stuff there. I'll give it that.
it just, it just needs to slow down. It needs to slow down so much.
It really does. Like, oh my god, I couldn't believe how quickly we went from nothing, some minor natural disasters to all out. This is the end of the world. Literally by the end of the episode, they were like, "This is a biblical apocalypse now."
Yeah, and like I say, if we didn't have busy Tuesday nights, we would be watching more of this just to see how insane it got.
We've watched worse for just the same reason.
Pretty much.
I'm looking at you, Dead of Summer.
Hey,
Is that what it was called?
that was Dead of Summer. Hey, we called it in episode 4 on that one, right?
Yeah. Never topped the craziness.
If this kept up this pace, like
I'm not sure I could watch this week to week. I feel like I need to watch this in 5-minute chunks over 3 days,
the
just to let it breathe.
it's the opposite of binge watching. You need to
Yeah,
let each scene breathe on its own so you can comprehend what's just happened.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, dear. And it's not just like obviously we talk about first episodes. We talk about pilots having that rushed pilot feel. This isn't that. This is much quicker. This
No,
is
because Rush Pilot Feel is just trying to set up your show, whereas this is just now
that's
we've
what-
got the setup. Here's another thing, and another thing, and another thing. Oh, and do you know what? Let's give you 3 more things.
this was the entire first 3 seasons of the show in one episode.
Do you know what? With the amount of like things there were, you could have had 3 seasons out of that.
You could.
Like
You could-
idea wise,
Yeah, you could have focused on natural disaster season 1, season 2, zombie virus type thing, season 3, demon things, You know,
Yeah. Season 1 is your natural disasters. Season 2 is your zombie virus and the kind of madnessy stuff because they're kind of tied together nicely. And then 3 is your demonic possessions. You know,
it's so crazy. Like I fully, I recommend people check it out just to see how insane it is. And like I say, I would definitely watch at least a few more of this just to see if it keeps up this insanity, just for the wow factor of the ridiculousness. But let's get to spoilers because I think we want to talk about some specific moments here.
oh I.
So, full spoilers from this point on for Aftermath. First things first. The first time, the sheriff mentions that these 3 kids are missing, and then one of them is his nephew, and his nephew shows up at the family's house early on, and he comes in and he's eating food as if he's been like out in the wilderness for like 3 days, like not been able to find anything. He's finally found them, and he's wolfing down dinner. And then all of a sudden, someone mentioned, like I think it's the son mentions to him, you need to slow down or something or whatever. He goes to touch the bowl, and like his eyes go all demonic, and he starts attacking them. And the mother tries to shoot him, and she fails. And then the teenage son grabs the gun and like shoots him while lying down, action movie style. And then like, this phantom thing like explodes out of him and leaves the room. And that's the first big thing.
Yeah.
The mother says, right, I need to go and report this to the police. So
and she's fine because she was in the Air Force.
She's in the Air Force, so she was fine. And she gets in the car and she leaves. And she goes to the police station. Everything's like all post-apocalyptic, zombie apocalypse. There's nothing, no one there. It looks like there's been a fight of some kind. And
it looks like season 4 of The Walking Dead.
Yes. So she comes home. She's got a shotgun now. She stole a shotgun from the police station, as you do. And she comes home. And this other random person, who's clearly also possessed, runs up and tries to attack her when she's getting out of the car to come in the house. And the husband and the son and all that all run outside and, take care of that. So let's just go over what's happened in this one day. There's a giant storm the night before.
That was the night before.
Giant storm the night before, right? So fish all over the grounds outside and all that, right? So on this day, random person, well, they kind of know him, but, person shows up, hungry, been missing for days.
Well, hang on. I think before that, you've forgotten the fact that the policeman comes over and says, yeah, this isn't even all of it. There's snakes just at the one over, and a whole town went crazy.
True, but I'm focusing mainly on stuff that specifically affected these people directly, right? So, person comes over, ends up having to be shot because he attacks the mother and the son, and he dies in their house, and a ghost type thing comes flying out of his body.
This is the skinwalkers, I think.
And then the mum comes back. She's attacked right outside their home by a random person who then runs off. Or does the ghost come out of him as well? I can't remember. So much happened in this episode.
I don't know anymore.
There was so much that happened. Later that night, the husband and wife are in the room, and he's like researching like demons and stuff because he studies like theology and stuff like that, archaeology and religious
archaeology, religion. And there was something else.
One more thing, whatever.
They didn't really have that much of a link though.
No, and he's sitting researching, and she's like sitting there on the chair as if she's having a quiet night in. You wouldn't believe for a second that they'd already killed someone today, and she'd been attacked outside their house.
Don't forget, she got attacked in the police station as well. She had to put down the 2 guys in there.
Oh yeah, she's killed 2 people as well.
Yeah, on top of that.
And this is the first 10 minutes of the episode. We haven't even gotten to the random guy who shows up, who's possessed, and flies away with the daughter. Literally picks her up and flies into the sky. And it's at this point I'm going, oh, this show is insane. I can't even...
I think this is the point where you messaged me and went, well, this escalated quickly.
It was. That is exactly when I messaged you.
Yeah. Because I think I was about 40 seconds ahead of you or something. And I was like, okay, I know what you're talking about. Oh, boy.
This was... And then we'll gloss over some stuff because there's too much of it to actually
go through. We'd be here all night if we went through every
to go through every detail. So they load into an RV and go to this city, and that's another thing. The phone like cell towers and like receptions all down, except the convenient moments when it's up for a few seconds, so they can get the information they need to get to each other goes through.
Yeah.
Don't tell me at the start there's no cell phone service if you're going to use it like
But
3 times throughout the episode.
but they did establish that she had signal for 4 seconds from a friend for New York.
But if anything, it should be getting worse as the episode goes. Not
I know.
not.
I know.
Oh god. So they're in the RV and they're traveling to this city, and they stop by this gas station to fill up, and the guy.
But you know what? That's one point I want to give him as good survival logic. Because the kid's like, I thought we had 50 gallons, and he's like, fill up whenever you can.
No, solid logic. I can't
I
fault
approve
it.
of that. It's probably the smartest thing he's said all episode.
I can't. Well, no, Dana was smarter in the middle when she got hysterical.
Okay, true. All right, fine.
Which is after this next bit, as it happens. So, the guy who's working there is like, no, get back in your RV. I will.
Do a full service only.
Yeah, we only do full service. I need to do, which, whatever, right? So he gets back in the RV, and they're sitting there, and the guy starts like washing the windscreen. He starts like full service, right? But there's like a red tinge to the soapy water. There's like a red tinge to it, and
you know what's going on.
Aye, to a point. I wasn't expecting him to pick up a decapitated head and start washing the car with that.
Nor was I. But when I meant you know what's going on, it's like, right, okay, so there's clearly some blood in this.
But it was so over the top and grotesque, and like
Kind of fantastic.
this was the moment where I was like, I might love this show. This might be the best show I've ever seen in my life. At this point,
This was easily the best moment of the episode.
and this is when Dana freaks out, and they finally start acting like something might not be quite right. This is my only problem that I have with the episode is I feel like everything sneaks up on this family. Like as soon as they leave the house, everything's already like gone to complete hell outside. There's people randomly killing each other. There's these people being possessed. Like it feels like they should be more aware of some of this stuff, to an extent.
Yeah.
But the daughter, who gets separated, Brianna, she gets up and actually no, before she gets up, the guy who took her at first doesn't remember what he did. And then he becomes possessed again, and he goes for her, and all she does is move slightly out the way, and he basically throws himself onto this spiky...
Do you know what the worst part was? Is I could see the big spider. I was like, oh, please don't tell me he's going to... And then he just jumped straight onto it. I was like, oh my god.
He impales
this is amazing.
himself. He impales himself, and it's quite brutal and violent, and this is where I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of enjoying the gore aspect here of the kills. But then she runs out to the sheriff, and the sheriff's already went nuts, and him and his deputy are just completely, insane, and which leads to her teaming up with a group of bikers who are aware of what's going on, kill the sheriff and the deputy, and then she gets a lift from him.
Can I say, I love how the bikers have enough knowledge to know that they got to look for blood, even though this plague has supposedly only just started like that day. Maybe the day before?
Yeah, overnight, but at least from what we can tell.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, sure, I'd buy the army at whatever city they were at, like, and at the checkpoints. I'd buy that they figured this out, maybe. And, like, they've had instructions from researchers and been like, right, okay, this is what you're looking for. But these bikers, just, how the hell did they figure this out?
They did mention it already kind of happened at another town. When the sheriff comes over at the start, he says that, this business already happened over in this town. So maybe it's more spotty and like.
That's true.
So and remember, she did fly to a different area, so maybe that area is more. It's been there for a while.
Yeah. But she can't have gone that far if the same sheriff was there.
True. That's actually a really good point. Why is that sheriff in a place where she has to travel to the same city as her family, but they're both going at different ends? But the sheriff is on her side.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, actually. Especially when the family seemingly take like a full day of driving. In fact, they stop it during the night.
They stop overnight, yeah.
Yeah. But let's assume they just kept driving. It seems like it took them at least like 15 hours or something like that to...
Yeah, because they say when they stop for overnight, they're at least 6 hours away.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, what?
They're far away. Like, that's,
Yeah.
They're not like half an hour from this city. They are a considerable
They're a good
distance.
day away. Yeah, that's what I mean. This is really weird. Like, if she's coming in from the opposite side of the city, so you assume she must have flown a very big distance.
Yeah, which is fair because he was flying, so yeah, you can cover
Sure,
distances.
I can buy that. That wasn't my problem.
Yeah, but why is the sheriff there?
But why is the sheriff all the way over there when we saw him at her house that morning?
Well, previous morning, but aye,
Oh, okay, previous morning. Sorry.
fair play. Yeah, no, I agree. And this, obviously, the husband's looking up his books and all that. He's like, oh, there's this type of thing called a skinwalker, and it basically explains what the things are doing. And the wife's all like, well, I'm in the army, I don't believe in this nonsense.
Oh, no. Air Force. They reminded me too many times to forget.
I was in a form of service.
I'll allow it.
Air Force specifically, but a type of military service, all the same.
I'll allow it.
Good. And then, of course, they're both approaching the city from the same sides. This is when the texting's working on the phone. Like, she gets a text from her mother, oh, we're both here. Yay! And I knew something bad was going to happen, but I'm going to admit, I did not... Not that I could call a lot in this episode. A lot of things.
I gave up trying to call things because it was like, there's no way. It's unpredictable.
So they're about to reunite. They're maybe like 10 minutes away from reuniting because they just have to like travel into the middle of the city from the checkpoints now. And we see the asteroid, the meteor coming in, like proper, coming through the atmosphere and like the smoke and the flames and the, the whole shebang, and it comes down and they're driving away and it hits the city, and this is kind of the big end, and they're both trapped on opposite sides of this city which has been obliterated by a meteor.
Yeah. So I love though, because we were talking about how he had the Bible out and all the research, and she was like, nah, no trumpets, mate. End of the world needs trumpets. That's what the Bible said. This ain't no biblical apocalypse until there's trumpets. And then at the end, where does the music come from? Because everyone can hear it. Is it just playing in the sky? Like, did it just come on the radios? I couldn't figure it out.
It sounded like it was on the radios to me, but I don't know if that's just me rationalising.
That's what I was trying to rationalise that, but it didn't sound like it was coming from the radios. I don't know if that's just some sound work that's messed up there.
Speaking of music, I did like the music that played as the asteroid was falling. It was a good little creepy bit of music that just was like impending doom.
Yeah, it had a really nice crescendo to it.
Yeah, I like that. Credit where credit's due, Yeah.
But then the music just starts playing these trumpets. It's like, cool. Just how did we get from there was a storm last night and a hurricane and there's some fish this morning to this is biblical apocalypse.
See if this was any other show, right? Storm last night, fine. Person comes in the house, is possessed, tries to attack you, you shoot them, fine. The rest of the first episode in any other show would be about dealing with the fact that you just shot someone.
Yeah. Do you know what? Any other show, this would have ended the moment the daughter was taken.
Yes.
That would have been the ending.
But that was
10 minutes in.
At best, that was a third, maybe only a quarter of the way through the episode.
Yeah.
This was insane. Check it out for yourself if you want to see if it's good for you.
I have whiplash.
It might be, it might not be, I don't know. Take what you will from what we've said. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. And like we said, SyFy have got Channel Zero starting in a couple of weeks, which is a new horror anthology show. It's like a 6-episode season, and then there's another 6-episode season next year. They greenlit it for 2 seasons, which is kind of a weird thing, but each one's its own story.
Based on creepypastas, so...
Yeah, based on like made up urban legends from the internet, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it looks really good.
Yeah, and Max Landis is involved in the first season, so should be interesting. So that's coming up in 2 weeks' time, which is also on a Tuesday. And like I say, had this not been a Tuesday, this show, we probably would have given it some more episodes to see how it played out. But our Tuesday nights already have S.H.I.E.L.D., Scream Queens, soon to be The Flash, and also Channel Zero. So
plus anything else that comes up, because there's still other stuff to try on Tuesdays.
That's true, yeah. No Tomorrow's next Tuesday as well on CW, so more stuff to try. But yeah, so looking forward to all the other pilots and new shows starting and returning shows. Westworld's coming this weekend. Look forward to it, as is Luke Cage, which we're doing all weekend.
Yeah.
Probably not finish that till Monday, but we're doing it all over the weekend. So
it's a busy time of year.
It's a very busy time of year. So thanks very much for watching. keep watching TV, guys. We'll see you next time.